Everybody doing okay? So if anybody has anything that they would like addressed tonight, feel free to put it in the chat and we will work it in. Any questions at all about your practice or anything you're going through that you'd just like some clarity on? You know, it's funny when you just drop something into the space of a meditation class, it just has a way of evolving. But other than that, let's just let ourselves sink into this moment. Time to just slip out of the story. And just let yourself enter a timeless space. Let your eyes take in the entire room at once. Not hard focusing on any one thing. Let your ears take in all sounds at once. Reaching even beyond the room that you're in. Expanding outwards in this moment. See if you can even hear the clouds moving over your head. Your consciousness has to get right up to the edge of its seat to expand, to reach. But all within this moment. I want to talk to you tonight about something that we experience all the time in meditation. And I try and get you there with different phrases and things, but I want to really nail it home tonight. There is this effortlessness that needs to come to your meditation practice in order for it to be sustainable. But the road to that effortless moment, because of all the effort you're stuck in, can feel like effort. because your mind is so stuck in your sense of self and the parts of you that are kind of contracting and holding in a little bit. Giving your mind over to that reach in this moment, which is really actually not a reach but a release to what you are. But it feels in the beginning like a reach. A reach because in a way you are pulling against something in order to do it. What you're pulling against is the part of you that's pulling in another direction. So what you're pulling against is a story. It isn't real, and yet the dynamic of its contraction creates a tug against where you're trying to go. Anybody who's ever tried to really do this, to really get good at meditating, knows that there is a firm and nearly constant invitation set on automatic pilot to return to all the nonsense of your personal story. And so you do something that asks for a little bit of an effort, like you give all your attention to your breath, or you listen with such intensity that you can hear the subtle noise of the wind moving around the clouds above you. Or the trees rustling, or that ringing in the silence that happens when you're really quiet inside. You give yourself something that asks you to sustain an effort that is not in line with the story that's pulling against you. And at first, it brings a certain kind of good feeling. It's not really a relaxed good feeling, it's kind of a charged good feeling, just to have your attention off of your own neuroses for a little while. But when you come to a class like this, where someone is actually helping you stay focused and asking you to remain with your chosen point of focus, I think most of you who have been here for a while have found that moment where to keep going deeper, you almost have to let go of the practice and just become that reach. It's no longer you reaching, you just become released into that reach. We've said this before in terms of abiding in the meditative state. You make it your home, at least while you're sitting here. Instead of putting more energy into pulling against the story, you start to release the story. As a skill, it's a pretty different skill. One is a pushing and pulling, that's concentration. And the other is a release of the thing that's pulling against you. trance meditation and beyond. In Buddhism, there's a word, I'm not sure if that's the right word. There's a mantra, Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. And what that mantra means is Gate, gone, gone, gone to the other shore. Everybody gone to the other shore. Enlightenment, hooray, something like that. But it's a sense of crossing over. It's a sense of crossing this vast chasm. The difference between using force to hold yourself somewhere outside of the story versus releasing the story so that you can cross the shore and be somewhere else. Be in your true self. Can you feel the difference between those two things? It's a big difference between pushing harder to get somewhere versus letting go of the thing that you have to push against. But I think most of you have experienced that moment where you actually have used force, used concentration to hold that intent long enough that the story, which you've just stopped feeding so much, has died down. And you can actually relax in that new comfortable place. The ability to relax in that new comfortable place means that the energy, which is really awareness, that you were using to push is now free to give itself to being present in that new place in consciousness. And in that new place in consciousness, because you are not misusing your energy, everything is flowing. And this body-mind complex of yours is just filling like a battery, charging. It's true rest, but it's not sleepy. It's awake. Not tensed, but tensile, dynamically balanced, poised on the edge of the seat. But not held there rigidly. You've just released anything that would be pushing or pulling you off that balance point. And so every breath fills you. It fills your body, but it also fills your clarity. And so you start to grow and expand on the other shore. At some point, you reach a moment where the story comes back up, because it knows if you stay there any longer, you're going to become something different. A little shift in consciousness. And so it tells you you have to stop. It tells you you have to get up. It tells you you are irreconcilably hungry, or that there's just something you need to deal with. And if you get up, you don't take that step forward. If you remain and just sit in that discomfort and find your balance within it so that it can no longer push or pull you, basically, if you find the other shore from that, if you put yourself through the same process, but in that new place, everything will expand. That part of you that is being used to hold your balance will be able to let go again, only this time, boom, your awareness gets that much bigger. There's that much more of yourself and of reality that you can experience. And then you make that your home, and you sit in that place. And after a period of time, if you go any further, your personality is going to have to let go of something else, some other crutch that it's created for its sense of self. And so again, there's this desperate plea to get off the cushion. But if you remain, you expand even further. But you've all, I think, the majority of you have experienced that dynamic. That moment where you go from having to use your energy to hold a point of focus to being able to let go of that force you have to pull against in order to hold that focus. But being aware of it gets you there faster. Are there any questions about that before we practice? Tonight we're going to go into meditation, but I specifically want you to be aware of that interplay. You're going to start by focusing on your breath, keeping your attention at the forehead and crown, letting your eyes fall to a spot on the floor, everything we always do. And you're going to be aware of the mind pulling against you, like it always does. And you're going to use a little concentration to just gently remain with the breath. But while you're doing that, I want you to be aware of that slow shift from having to hold that point of balance to being able to just make that point of focus your home. It's a letting go while still remaining focused. It requires a level of self-awareness, a relaxed vigilance, where you can see when part of yourself is trying to capture your attention and start pulling you off your balance point. And you get to a place where you have to figure out, do I have to hold my balance point, or can I just release the thing that's pulling me off of it? First, you try and release what's pulling you off of it. If that doesn't work, then you hold your balance point, but you're holding your balance point just long enough to get the thing that's pulling you off of it a little disempowered. And then you have to try and release it so that your awareness is not spent on holding your balance point, but being your balance point. So tonight I want you to cross to that other shore, and I want you to know that you're doing it, and I want you to do it consciously, and I want you to experience the dynamics that pull against it and what it takes for you to release those dynamics. And when you get there, you need to be aware when those dynamics start to filter back in to take you away. Don't let them take you by surprise. Count on it. It's gonna happen. Be ready for it. These are the kinesthetic skills required to actually get to know what you are. Very difficult to teach. You can really only learn it by bumping right up against them and learning how to work with them through trial and error. I'll help as much as I can. But if there are no questions, let's get into it. And if there are questions, put them in the chat. We're going to start just by watching the breath. Attention at the forehead and crown. Eyes just on the floor. Get them out of the way, but keep them open. And just let everything kind of become still. In the beginning, you're going to need a little concentration. To leave one shore for another, the shore has to have some definition to it. You need order. So watch the breath. Be right there with every inch of it. As the body and the mind calm down, see if you can just lighten your touch a little bit. Just a finger of focus. You can bring in the big guns if you have to. But how light can you be and still watch the breath? Making it your home doesn't mean you stop focusing. It means your focus becomes effortless because you release what's pulling against you. It's the difference between focusing and becoming focused. A subtle shift that changes everything. Give yourself that experience. That part of you that wants to be done, let it go. It can be whatever it needs to be, but you let it go. You've already looked under that rock. Give yourself a chance to see something new. those little moments of discomfort and intensity, just let them come and let them go. It's okay. They're just little flourishes of energy that's been stuck. Gaining temporary expression because you have more energy moving through your body. Let them do their little flourish, and then they'll disappear. Nothing you have to do about it. If you make your focus your home, the layers of the onion will peel themselves. Now, if things have gotten blurry, return to the breath. Renew your choice to watch the breath. And when that balance point comes, rest there, poised, awake. It's good. The energy just got cleaner. relax there. Be comfortable there. Released into your focus. Now look up from where you are. Stay focused. Come up against the boundaries of the system of stories. Just be aware of them. Don't play with them. Be aware of your life. But with that clarity intact. And just stay in that uncomfortable threshold for a little bit. What can be released from that image in front of you? Release it. Release your investment. Let it lift off the scene. What else? What other useless story is lingering in the space that you can just relinquish right now, so that when you enter back in, it's cleaner than when you left it? Release your investment in it. It's the same skill. Can you see that? And now come back completely, and we're going to re-enter our story. This week, I want you to play with those dynamics. I want you to go back and forth from those different layers and levels. Master them. They're yours to master. It's your consciousness. Work with it. It's where all your power is. Any questions about that before we end the session? All right, everybody. I will be here next Thursday, and I wish you all a fantastic week. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.